Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome back to another episode of the much anticipated Unleash Potential podcast. Now, today we have a very special treat and we have a guest which Abdul Jabbar Jama has managed to secure.
A new face.
A new face, yes, absolutely. Now we've got our regular host, and that is Abdul Jabbar Jama and Mr. Omar Almi. But today we have also Guled. What's your last name, bro? I don't even know. I'm serious. What's your last name, bro?
Guled Khadr.
Guled Khadr. MashaAllah. Now, Guled is a husband. He is a father of two young boys, MashaAllah. And he's also a community worker, not by profession, but he's very involved within the community. And he's working with an organization who's very heavy in trying to inspire the community and trying to uplift the community as well. He's also someone who's aspiring to be a hafiz. MashaAllah, he's come so far and he's been very, very consistent in that. And I think that also highlights some of the topic that we're going to be discussing with him as well. And this is the aspect of consistency. So I don't know if you want to leave it at that, but if you want to add a little bit of detail to that little introduction.
Nah, it's Umar, and thank you for having me on this another episode of Unleash Potential.
You a fan, by the way? You watched the other episodes?
Yes, I've been following, particularly the last two episodes, which were very, very interesting, But thank you. You said it all. Let's get this ball rolling.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know, Guled is like he's like our fifth leg. He's a bit like a spare tire that we have in the trunk, Let me be real here, just so you understand. When I say a spare tire, I don't mean that he's like a, someone. Yeah, no. He's definitely very active, mashallah. But he's very necessary. You don't travel without a spare tire because just in case you hit an emergency and you need very reliable. He's there. When I say spare tire, I mean all the positives of the spare tire, not the negatives, right? But mashallah, so we're very happy to have you as our first guest.
Thank you.
And very happy to have you as part of this crew.
Yeah.
So without further,
which then again, I think brings that topic we're talking about today, consistency. When our brother Jabbar Haji is not here today, but we're committed into doing the episode with him.
Absolutely.
I loved as well. The second Haji was out, we didn't ask him to come on. He put his hand up before we even asked him to come on. He's like, "Hey, look, I'll fill it in." You know what I mean? He was ready. He was ready to go. He knew his role as that tire.
Uncle Jew always be there.
The father figure,
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Put his hand up. I like that proactiveness. Mashallah. So today, as we said, we're going to be talking about the hack to success, and one of the hacks is consistency. And when I say success, I don't necessarily mean just in business. I don't necessarily mean just in like your career or your jobs. I mean in every aspect of your life. Being consistent at something is the number one key, as well as all the other topics that we've discussed. But consistency is way up there. Right?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this idea of consistency? How has it played out into your lives? I just want to get a good understanding of where you guys sit on the fence when it comes to consistency.
It builds discipline and habit. You know what I mean? Especially when you're learning something new. Especially the year's just ended. We had that New Year's resolution, all that.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of people that have their resolutions. They start it, and then by 3 months in, it's done. It's over because they haven't been consistent with it. You know what I mean? You got to stay at it to make it work. So having that consistency is required, because if you do anything for a month and then stop and you don't build that habit, then you're not going to do it. Like waking up in the morning, remember when we were kids and we used to go to school, we used to be up in the morning watching Saturday cartoons in the morning. Remember how early we used to wake up?
Bro, not even as kids, even now. I mean, because I've built in that consistency of waking up at a certain time every morning. Yeah. Sometimes I'd wake up 2 minutes before my alarm goes off, anticipating that.
I used to say I'm not a morning person. That's what I used to say, but it wasn't. It was a habit of me not waking up early in the morning.
Exactly.
So the second I changed it, because what happens is you can't wake up the next day, you go, I'm not a morning person. But I just was one day. Yeah. Once I started waking up for a good week or a month, exactly like you said, I'm waking up before my alarm. I'm you know what I mean? It's clockwork now. because my body's used to it.
Yeah, that's right. Even your body gets used to it. So you could be going to bed really late at the night before, but still get up early
It's
next
an
morning.
internal clock. Yeah.
And yeah, you'd be like, okay, even though you mentally, you're like, okay, tomorrow I got no work. It's Sunday, I'm going to sleep in. But you're going to wake up 6 in the morning because you've 6 days out of the other week, you've already trained that body. And your body automatically, like you said, you're going to get up before your alarm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, do you find yourself very consistent?
Yeah, man.
Yeah? With everything you do, or is it just something?
No way, no way. I'm a human being, bro.
Yeah. MashaAllah, I gotta admit, you're very consistent when it comes to this.
Very consistent.
That's one thing I'll.
And he
I'm
might
showing
be
a little
up
bit of
late, last night,
appreciation
but,
here,
he's
you know?
still consistent. Coming
I
in.
think it's-
Now this is a commitment.
Yeah.
You know, with consistency and between the starting line and the finishing line to achieve your goal is consistency, hard work, teamwork, all of those aspects put together. But the one at the top is consistency. You got to keep that train moving to reach our final goal.
What's it? The rabbit and the hare, the tortoise and the tortoise and the hare. The race, the hare sleeps and then the tortoise beats it.
Yeah.
It's because the tortoise was consistent. He was just moving at his own pace consistently,
But non-stop.
then non-stop. He didn't stop.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You got to be
Yeah.
consistent in it.
For me, I find like my role model, like as my parents, you know, because I feel like since whenever they came here, they had a goal, they had a vision to raise us up in the right way, but also building a future for us to becoming who we are like now. Because I mean, I wouldn't be where I am without my parents now. And I think for the viewers listening, you know, make dua for your parents and make sure you contacting them and make sure you are very close to them and listening to them, because their happiness is your happiness.
Absolutely, and
You
be
know?
consistent
And
in
be
that dua.
consistent in
Yeah, that
Because
definitely.
the moment you make them upset, that week is not going to be good for you. You know, I've
So
yeah.
you now, because you're a parent, you know,
Yeah.
you've got two
and
young,
when you're
young
a parent,
boys.
you realize
Have to be
Yeah.
consistent.
because
as a
I'd want
parent.
the same for my boys.
Absolutely.
I'll do the same for my boys. You know? Yeah.
Do you try and instill that consistency within them?
Yeah.
I mean,
they're young, and I mean, I'm still a young
yeah,
father,
yeah, I know.
but it's a learning progress,
Yeah.
and you try to. Sometimes I feel like if you don't start it from the beginning, and when they reach 18, 19, and you see that they're falling apart, be like, hey son, come here.
It's too
The
late.
boy will be like, it's too late, Dad.
You've
Where,
all
where,
been-
where you been?
Exactly.
I think it's not being a father; it's being like a mate to them, a friend
Yeah.
from day one, you know. And then you start building that trust.
Yeah, just consistently
Yeah.
being there.
Yeah,
He's
consistently being there,
Consistently
yeah,
showing them, guiding them.
Yeah, guiding them. Yep.
Just like
Yep.
doing the right thing consistently leads to good goals.
Yeah.
For example, waking up early,
Yeah.
sleeping late, you're being consistent in that negative habit as well.
Yeah.
So that's what creates those habits. That's what he's saying. When
Yeah.
you wait to 18, it's too late.
So-
It's not because you weren't just consistent on doing the right things. It's
Yeah.
because they were doing the wrong things consistently. So then it builds that negative habit, which is a lot harder. So as Guled said, start it early. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So okay, let me bring this idea of consistency in like a frame where we can sort of understand it, right? So when we say consistently, do we pretty much mean every single day? Like, I mean, if you've got a goal to be consistent at the gym for the next 100 days,
Yeah.
does that mean if you fall off that 100 days,
I mean, it's
you're inconsistent? Is that what it is?
No. I think like the last episode I said, it's the effort. If you're being consistent and you make a mistake, for example, you went to the gym and you went too hard that first week, you know, you might not be able to go the next day because you're way too sore. You shouldn't just push yourself to go, because then now it's going to be detrimental. You can get hurt or whatever it is. But what you should do is be consistent in reevaluating, thought process, planning. Be consistent in that, because a lot of people, what happens is they think they're consistent, they'll stop and they go, oh, I was off for a week because I couldn't do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
I'm done. Rather than planning and learning, because everyone falls off the wagon. It's how
It's how quickly you get back on that wagon.
Exactly.
Wagon, yeah.
And
That's true.
try to make that less frequent. So if I go to the gym 3 weeks, or if I do something consistently for 3 weeks and then I stop, then I get back on it, try going for 4, and then next 5. Then what happens, you're consistently improving. It doesn't have to be consistently doing the right thing. It's always consistently improving as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're all human beings, you know. We'll always fall off that consistency train.
Yeah.
That's when you go back to your base, and it brings back the thought process.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think, why
And goal setting.
am I heading in that direction? Why am I going that way? What is down at the end of the road?
Yeah.
Is your goal. You gotta jump back on that train and head straight to where your destination.
I think both of you touched
know?
on really important
Yeah.
issues,
Yeah.
and that is, sorry, just Did you want to continue?
No, I just was going to add to that. I was going to say, like, the younger that you start, later on it becomes much easier. Like, most of us here are in our 20s, and this is when we're really active. This is when we really can get done a lot.
Yeah.
So if we get into that routine of continuously doing what we do, getting up, you know, training our body, then 30s and 40s, it becomes the same.
Memory
You know,
muscle,
yeah.
muscle memory.
Muscle memory.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You're right, and like I said, you both, and even you, I mean, you know, you pretty much touched on really key aspects, and that is one, developing a routine. So starting from young
Yeah.
to the point where you're continuously doing it, and now it's just habit.
Yeah.
You just wake up before the alarm.
Yeah.
You don't even realize it. You're at the gym, or you know, you're out buying groceries, and you're doing these things. Have you ever, for example, just driven home from, you know, from one location all the way home, and because you've been driving there,
You
even to
completely-
and from work, right?
You didn't even remember driving.
You don't even remember driving. You're like, how
Yeah.
did I even get there?
Yeah.
That's autopilot.
yeah,
right?
autopilot, yeah.
So
Never.
developing that routine, that consistency will lead you to be able to actually achieve what it is you want to do, right? Without even to the
Pushing
point
yourself.
where pushing yourself,
yeah,
like
yeah.
it just becomes second nature.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it becomes
actually
second
puts
nature,
less mental strain on you. Because
That's right.
Normally, for example, when you're waking up, like keep going back to that example, you know, when you go to bed, you're setting alarms, you're thinking, I don't want to, you know. But when you're in that routine, all that mental energy is, you know, spending it on that. You just, like you said, it's autopilot. So now you can focus on the areas you need to improve on.
Exactly.
You know?
And the other aspect that Almi touched on was having a goal.
Yeah.
You can't be consistent if you don't have a desired outcome. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to achieve a certain thing and this is where you are, that's your goal. And you know how many days it takes you or however long it takes you. The only way you're going to get there is by consistently being there, consistently doing
If
the
you have
work.
a clear goal, every time you fall off, you can remember what you're striving for.
Exactly.
Which will give you that motivation to
Exactly.
continue.
So having that one goal. And it's all about discipline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like disciplining your body. And that's the hardest thing.
That is a hard.
Trying to
It is.
establish that discipline.
Yeah.
Breaking a
It's not
routine.
easy. It's not easy.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
So how do you actually...
What was that thing that we were talking about? I remember as soon as he brought up discipline, I remember there was a thing that we brought up in our group. What's the bridge between start and finishing?
the bridge between where you are and your goals, I think it is
Discipline.
is discipline.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
I
Yeah,
remember that
and that
straight
ties in with consistency.
Yeah.
The other thing that I sort of wanted to mention was the idea of your character. Now, when you're consistently being consistent at whatever it is that you do, you become reliable. When you become reliable, that becomes a part of your character.
And builds trust.
Exactly. And it builds trust. You understand? So, for example, there's one person that you know, if you call them, they'll either not pick up or pick up.
Yeah.
Everybody has one of two.
Yeah, one or two.
One of two.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're consistent at that.
Yeah.
Or
They're
you know they're gonna be
consistently
late.
doing that
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
action.
Yeah.
Whether they're not picking up or they're consistently picking up.
Yeah.
And therefore that becomes a part of their character.
Yeah.
That's not to say that they can't change.
Yeah.
They can change.
Yeah.
But they just haven't applied the work that it requires to be disciplined
But others
at
might
that.
see them as reliable or not reliable.
Exactly, that's what I mean. So it plays into your character
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So how is it that you, because as I mentioned in the start, you are trying, inshallah, to become a hafiz, and that is basically, for those who don't know, that is trying to memorize the Quran. Now it's not an easy task.
It's not.
It's
yeah.
definitely very difficult. And may Allah give you patience and reward
All of
you,
us, yeah, inshallah.
Ameen.
for the blessings.
Yeah.
But so how do you become consistent at that?
Let me tell you, man, it's pretty hard here in the Western society
Yeah.
because of the time, not the commitments you have. I started learning the Quran in Africa, back home, and we get up 4 a.m, and the teacher would make sure we memorize the Quran before we have breakfast. And you're thinking, how do I do that? But it actually works. The body works in a special way, you know. When you're hungry, you actually memorize the Quran easier than when your belly's full. Because when you're full, tiredness and laziness and other factors come into play. But it was much easier over there because obviously you're surrounded by an environment where 100% of the people there, locals, are just
Absolutely.
are Muslims. But when you're here, you're not that. That's not an excuse,
But it makes it challenging.
but it makes it challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes challenging yourself is good because it builds that character within you. But inshallah, hope to get back to it and
Inshallah.
That's really key, and I just want to make sure that the listeners and the viewers
Mm.
sort of understand this, and that
Yeah.
is the idea of one, being in the right environment
Yep.
to help you.
Yep.
Be consistent at that.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't have access to that environment,
Yeah.
you become the environment
Yeah.
then. So set yourself so that you are in a state where you contribute to yourself, whether it is finding alone time for yourself and just listening to something that helps you become more motivated and pushes you to
Yep.
continuously. Bro, there's a lot of motivational
Oh,
talks out there.
Everywhere.
There's
Oh.
plenty.
Yeah, just search
And
it.
YouTube now is so easily accessible.
Yeah.
You know, you
Everywhere.
could just wake up to some sort of motivation and, you know, be consistent and literally do the thing that you don't even want to do.
Yeah.
You just get pushed by listening
That's,
to one.
that's environment. You put
That's
yourself in that
you
environment.
put yourself. If you don't have them,
comes down to
exactly.
the friends,
yeah, the people
the
around you.
companionship that you hang out with.
That's true.
They say you are who your friends are.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know, I mean, if you're hanging out with people who are in the wrong track, you either gonna leave them or you become part of them.
Exactly.
You know, so in that environment,
Exactly.
yeah, friendship is
Yeah.
important. In
Yeah, you're right.
the
Yeah,
people you
it
hang out
plays
with.
it plays a
Plays a
part.
big part.
Yeah,
It does.
It does play a
absolutely.
big part, yeah.
and then the
And
other.
that's when it becomes challenging for us as African Muslims who are raised up in a Western society.
Yeah.
It's good to have a non-Muslim or non-African friend, but you know, obviously, there's limits. You know, there's things that you can't do.
Things you can't pick up from
Yeah,
them.
pick
if
up
you
from
can.
them, and you can't
Yeah.
pick up from them. You know,
Mm.
and then again, you're building that character with
I think-
yourselves. And
Yeah, that's
and,
one of the
yeah,
challenges we spoke of
Yeah,
a few episodes ago, where it's like you have that identity at home versus the identity outside of the home.
Yeah.
The environment in your house is one sort of way, then you
Yeah.
leave
Yeah.
and it's completely different, especially when we have different cultures here. We've got the Australian
Mm.
culture and our own culture.
Yeah.
So being able to know what's influencing you,
Yeah.
as well knowing as your identity, that's your environment,
Yeah.
that's gonna, show your character. Is
Yeah.
it? So if you're going to be consistent at things, because for example, I know people that they'll have a group of friends and everyone shows up late. You know what I mean? There's like, let's go at 5. Everyone's walking up at 6.
African
you know what I
timing
mean?
as well.
You got the African
It's
time.
like,
And then you have
what
that-
time we meeting up? 5 o'clock. All right, I'll be there at 7.
Oh,
We used
so-
to have, we used to have
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
we used to have this
and
one-
everybody knows that. It's like it's.
we used to have
key.
this one Australian friend, and everyone used to always rock up late. And then what happened is he used to always be the one person that rocked up on time, and then a month later he's rocking up the same time everyone else is
As
rocking up.
everyone
An hour
else,
late.
yep.
He just gets affected by the environment.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think that you mentioned, and I want the listeners and the viewers to sort of understand, is if you don't have access to that environment or you don't feel like you're too consistent, then there's this other tactic, and that is to apply it or tie it in with some sort of reward or tie it into some sort of routine within your day. So for you guys, it was waking up in the morning
Yeah.
and before having breakfast, memorizing,
memorize.
And then
practice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So understanding that when you wake up, you're automatically hungry. Your body's going to tell you, I want breakfast. But when you tie it to that,
Yep.
then you know, right, before breakfast, I have to do this.
Yep.
And you'll automatically remember.
Yep.
And because
You're training your
breakfast
body.
is like a reward,
Yep.
you're like, right, I'm going to make sure I do this so that I can have
And
my
again,
breakfast.
muscle memory.
Muscle memory.
Yeah, yeah,
You understand?
yeah.
So I just wanted the viewers to sort of understand that. But I want to know what your thoughts are with regards to someone who is consistent and someone who isn't really consistent, like with the results that come out. So somebody who produces 500 days or even 100 days consistently, and someone who does about 50 days or 250 days. Compared to each other, do you reckon the results will be the same? Is it about consistency,
it's a lot-
or is it about the work that they put in?
It
Like,
could- it
because
could.
some people say, if you don't work harder, work smarter, kind of thing.
Yeah, both.
You know what I mean? So what?
Both. You work smart and you work hard. That's what I've literally been taught. I have a mentor. I used to work as part of business when I was getting my business degree, and that was what it was: work smart and work hard. Because what happens, especially when it comes to business, if I'll use that as an example, if I'm running, let's say, a sales store, right, and I'm the salesperson at first, I'm working hard. I only have a limited time during the day, 8 hours, 9 hours. I got other responsibilities. I'll work my butt off in that time. And then what happens is this: I can't do any more. I cannot make more money because I only have a limited amount of time. So now what you do is you work smart. You train someone, and that person will learn from you because you put that work in. Now, while you're working 8 hours, he's working 8 hours, and you're taking 20 to 30% off. Next thing you know, you're moving up, training more people. You see what I mean? It becomes like more of a pyramid scheme. That's working smart and working hard. Now, if you worked smart and then just got people to work for you, it might not have worked as efficiently because they're not trusting in you because they haven't seen you do the work. So knowing when to put, like if you look at athletes or anyone that's in a successful position, they put in more work and smarter. Because there's athletes out there that put, like for example, they'll put in a lot of work and they'll put in more work than person B, but because they weren't smart, they got injured. See what I mean?
It brings back to that
But
saying.
then, yeah,
What's that saying? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
So if talented, smart works hard, it's like double whammy.
Yeah.
You know, so you should, I reckon, first, because working hard builds that discipline. Because a lot of people want to work smart, more of a shortcut. I'm going to work smart just because I don't want to work hard. See what it is? But sometimes to achieve your goal, you got to put in that work first. So you got to be able to work hard and smart, because if you can just work smart, it will only take you so far. If you can just work hard, it will only take you so far.
And by work hard, you mean continuously.
Yeah,
right?
consistent.
Consistency.
I believe
effort as well,
you can't work smart until you work hard. So you got to work hard at the beginning to achieve your goals.
Yeah, that's true.
And to know the ins and outs of the
Because
of
you're not
the-
going to know your
the
routine.
project.
You're not going to know what your results are unless you put in that work hard. Unless you put in that hours of grind, you know. So you work hard in order to work smart.
He's
That's what I
100% right. Because have you ever had that like manager or someone that's above you that's never worked a day in your shoes telling you what to do, and you're like, I can't do that because X and Y. You know what I mean? Like whatever you're telling me, because it happened to me at work. Hey Abdi, can you do X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, if you know my work, it's impossible for me to do X, Y, and Z because of this. And they'll be like, oh, I didn't know that. You know? And you're like, okay, cool. Like, how did you not know that? Like, you should have at least put in that work. So they're not being an effective manager. They're not managing and teaching me effectively because they haven't put that time and work in my position. You know what I mean?
Let's look at it this way. You start a business. Your first couple of years, you're going to work hard. You're going to work really hard until you start establishing this business and having results, training workers, employees. Later on, you can sit back, or not yet, you're still going to work hard, but you have that support of employees and trust that you've built in
Teamwork.
with your teamwork, with your co-workers. Then you can work, you're working smart.
Let's even make it a little bit more realistic, because not many people out there own a business or have a business. Some people are married.
Yeah.
So even in your marriage, I like to talk about marriage only because, that's something that I've experienced.
Yeah.
I like to talk
Yeah,
from
yeah.
experience, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to your marriage, for example, if you're not consistent, then there's going to be issues.
It's definitely.
You know what I mean?
issues,
Yep.
yeah.
There's going to be reliability issues, trust issues. There's
Trust
going to be
issues, yeah.
even like, communication issues, because you said one thing, but because you're inconsistent in that, then, that you're just not going to get the communication that you want, that two-way. And even it can be for those people who exercise on a regular basis. If you don't exercise
That's
on a regular
pointless.
basis, then it's pointless. You work out 1 week, but then or the next week or 2-3 weeks, and you stop.
It takes a week to 2 weeks to undo a whole month of work. So if you go to the gym consistently for a whole month and then just slack off for 2 weeks, that whole month is undone in half the time. So you got to be consistent at it.
Yeah, and the same with those who go to school.
Yeah.
If you're inconsistent, man, bro, growing up, wallahi, I'll tell you, growing up, bro, regardless if it was raining,
Yeah.
if it was hailing,
Yeah.
if it was sunny, even if there was a flood, my dad will still be like, get up, you're going to school.
Yeah.
I don't think.
And there's no like, I'm dropping you off. No, you're walking there.
Wow.
And it's a long walk,
Wow,
bro.
wow.
But it was just, that was the culture that was set in our household. My dad himself would always go to work.
Yeah.
It's very rare that my dad would take a sick day off.
Yeah.
Literally only when he's in hospital that he'd,
But
he'd request a
he
day
couldn't
off.
have preached that to you if he wasn't doing it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I
it
think
got
that's the key with consistency. You got to be able to do it yourself. Train your body, train yourself.
Train your mind.
Yeah. So like for us as fathers, we have to do it before we expect our children to do it. We can't not get up early in the morning, not have breakfast early as a family, and not not expect and then expect our kids to do it. You know, it
Hey,
works both ways.
It's not just with the wife; it's any person
Yeah.
you have a relationship with.
Yeah.
Because if I told you, if I wasn't consistent coming here every day, that trust between us now is broken.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna trust or rely on me to
Yeah.
get X, Y, and
Yeah.
Z done because I'm not being consistent. If I say I'm gonna be here every day and I rock up the next 3 weeks and then stop coming again on time, and then I tell you again, oh no, I'm gonna be here, sorry, and then I do it again, and it's the third time I tell you, you're not gonna believe me. It's the boy who cried wolf. It's like no,
Yeah.
because you're not consistent.
I believe you, man. I believe you.
You're easy to convince,
I
man.
believe you now. You're a good bloke, man.
Because I've been consistent at it.
Because you're consistent.
I love it, man. I love it.
Consistency is the
Yeah,
key,
definitely, man.
Yeah.
You know, being consistent reestablishes that character,
Definitely,
reestablishes your word, and people trusting you, that communication,
Yeah.
and it rehashes that relationships, you know, and gels it together to
Gels it
make sure that
together,
you
yeah,
are, you know, successful. And you're absolutely right. Do as I do, not as I say.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, you do the work first. You know, even Islamically.
Yeah.
So just touching on the
Spiritual
Islamic
Muslim.
perspective, because we're all Muslim here,
Yep.
Yeah.
and we've got a lot of viewers that are Muslim.
Yep.
Yeah.
In terms of Islam, what does the religion teach in terms of consistency?
You think of our prayers, 5 times a day prayers, compulsory, morning, afternoon, midday, afternoon. You know what I mean? Like the 5, it's set times. It's not do 5 whenever you want to, because you got to be consistent with it. You know, because we're here on this planet for a reason, and that's to worship God. So just like we said, remembering your goals, that's what the 5 prayers are. You got to take that time out your day to remind you
I
of
love
your
it.
goals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can be consistent at it. So when you do pass away, you reap the rewards of the, you know, the test of life.
Actions speak louder than words. Sometimes a form of da'wah, a form of preaching, is better through actions than words. Because when you're walking down the street, if someone sees you doing the right thing, picking up a rock or something from the road that's going to endanger someone else, another person sees you, he'll follow you, he'll follow those actions, rather than listening to you.
Sorry,
you know?
I just remembered
You know what I mean?
something
Like,
silly.
So by you going to someone else and doing, you do that, he might forget it, but visually he's seen it.
You're right. There's an inconsistent consistency between the words you speak and the actions you do.
Yeah.
People
They have to
feel
be in
comfortable.
sync.
They have to be in sync,
and they have to be
People
continuous.
feel comfortable when they
Absolutely,
see it.
right.
Have you
See
ever
it,
explained something to someone like, can you do this? And you explain it in perfect detail. Like there's no way you could have misinterpreted it. But they still say, yeah, no, but show me first.
Yeah.
Because they need to see that. Like, you know what they say, seeing is believing? They need to see it first.
Yeah. Definitely, man.
Is there, you know, we've been talking about consistency and how it helps us.
Yeah.
Is there, what tricks or ways do you have in staying consistent? Because it's easier said than done.
Yeah. So for me,
Because we have talked about focusing on your goal. What
Yeah.
other than focusing on your goal? How do you focus on your goal to stay consistent?
do you guys want to touch on that?
How you
Before I
stay
get into-
focused on your goal to stay consistent.
Yeah.
So what makes
just-
you, for example, what makes you, like, just touching on your question, what makes you consistent about coming here on a regular basis?
Obviously,
You know?
the fact that the first thing is our main goal is to help and contribute to our community, somehow give back to our community.
Yeah. So
That's
making
the
it
first
not
goal.
just about you.
Number 2, it's a commitment that we all came together and we said, you know what, we're going to be consistent in it. So I'm putting my
Teamwork.
part, my effort into the team so we can reach our final goal. And number 3, I'll probably say is, man, it's just a beautiful thing that we got going on here. So you have to,
Enjoying
for
it.
me,
Yeah.
if I have a commitment, I try to put in 100%, especially with my mates and whatever attributes in life.
Absolutely.
If you don't put in the effort and the consistency,
It's become routine now,
Yeah.
to be honest, you know, to the
I
point where
I
this guy
believe-
would just
yeah.
message the group and
Yeah.
say, hey guys,
But-
when are we meeting up? As if like he misses it, you know?
Exactly.
Let's be-
I just believe if
I
you have a
love this,
vision,
man. It's beautiful.
if you have a
bro.
vision, if you know the vision and you know the end goal, and you believe and you're confident that you're going to achieve something, then that's going to be progress you and push you to be
But the
consistent.
thing is, it's easy to be consistent in something you're passionate about. So if
passionate,
you're gonna go
yeah.
play soccer with your friends on the weekend and you love to go play soccer with your friends on the weekend, that commitment's way easier compared to
Yeah.
getting up for work that you don't like, for example.
I remember when
You
we
know
were
what I
young,
mean?
you know what I mean?
Because he just said it too.
I
it's
don't know,
fun.
man. Like, you're right. It is easier,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make it impossible for
No,
the other
I'm not
ones.
saying
No,
it's
you make-
impossible
yeah,
for
yeah.
them.
Because
Otherwise,
when you're
there's-
young and your mum says to you, you know, you want to go out and your friends are playing basketball at the courts in front of your house, but your mum says no, you got to finish your homework or do these chores. You would do it happily, just because you know you're going to go out there and play with
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
You know, so because you're passionate, you're pushing yourself.
About that thing, yeah.
But that doesn't make it impossible. You're
But-
right. Yeah.
the way to probably combat it, if it's not passionate, is what Elmi just put up there, like support group. He knows that he's going to be here every week because we have midweek updates. We talk to each other. On the Saturday, I'm calling him up, so
And
he
you gotta come
knows.
in too.
He knows to be there. If none of us were communicating all week, then you know it'll be harder for him to get here. Harder
Yeah.
for me, probably. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As well, because then it gets that trust level. So having
And
someone
even the
there,
effect that if he doesn't come, the effect that it has on the team.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like his inconsistency will limit our consistency.
You know
Yeah.
me, I'm the life of the party. Man. Yeah. But the
Yeah.
thing, I was gonna bring up to the viewers and listeners out there. Everyone's tapped differently or wired differently, you know, mentally and physically. So the thing is, they've got to figure out for themselves what keeps them consistent, what keeps them motivated, what keeps them going. Because what keeps me, you motivated and consistent, it's different.
no.
We're all different individuals. So, yeah, pretty much figure out what works for you
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some people
and
write
go
things
for
down.
it. So, for you, for example, I know you for the gym. If you don't go to the gym every day, the next day you're gonna be like a bit
Yeah.
agitated. You're not gonna be yourself. Because why? You didn't go to the gym. So you're gonna go back to your what makes you. You're gonna rethink and rekindle. You know what? Why did I miss the gym? Maybe you're gonna go back, read a book, and then bang,
Yeah.
back to the gym straight away.
I think the
Watch
one common goal we have in terms of Islamically, because we know our end goal is we're here as in this world to be tested
Yeah.
on what we are, you know. So we know we have that common goal, you know. We do right, do good, and your end reward is the.
For me, to try and combat somebody who's inconsistent, like if you've got that habit of not being consistent, for me, I would draw from the two lessons within Islam, and that is one, the hadith of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who said the most favored deed is the one that is done consistently, even if it is small. So having a goal, but breaking it down into small things so that you can do it consistently,
Yeah.
so that it doesn't affect you. Okay, and then the other thing is, I mean, we've got Ramadan that's coming right around the corner. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
man.
2 months, two and
Yeah,
something
yeah,
months,
man.
man.
Yeah, 2 months.
Time flies, man.
Really close.
Really fast.
But
Mate.
you see how even the people who are non-religious, who don't pray 5 times a day, during Ramadan they're very consistent, right?
Yeah.
Now the whole
Yeah,
idea
watch
of
those,
like one lesson that you can draw from Ramadan is that when you go on a regular basis every single day and you're praying amongst people, getting in that environment, establishing that routine, that 1 month intensive goal that you have is to propel you until the next Ramadan,
Exactly.
for the next 11 months.
Yeah.
So set yourself a date, like you say 100 days, you say 50 days, you say 30 days. Start small, whichever one you can achieve first. Do that consistently. Very small, but do it consistently for 30 days. And then once you reach that, it would become addictive. It would become addictive. You ever wake up on Eid day
Yeah.
and then be like, oh man, I can't believe we're eating.
It's
You know what I mean? Like you forget you're
It's
eating.
over the last 10 days.
You feel
already,
guilty
like,
even
yeah.
eating on Eid
Yeah,
day. You're
yeah.
like, what? I'm eating? Are you
Yeah,
serious?
yeah.
I like to
Because
throw-
it became muscle memory, and
Yeah,
then it
muscle
became also addictive to
Even
the point
I'm
where
pretty sure the day before
you miss it.
a lot of people are out there, they're just enjoying the night.
Yeah.
No one goes to sleep the night before. early.
nobody does.
No
You know,
one.
that's the
But
reward
then
of achieving
but then
that
everyone gets up
consistency.
early.
Yeah.
Everyone gets up early.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Look at that.
Exactly.
It's the mental,
Yeah.
because you know it's that time of happiness, and you get it's like a muscle
Yeah.
again. Muscle.
So
memory.
yeah, that 30 days,
Yeah.
that having a big goal, but then breaking it down into something small,
Yeah.
and then, as we've discussed here, implementing it or tying it into one routine within your day. For example, if you have this goal that you want to learn a language, right? So you get all the tools that try and help you to learn a language, and you consistently try and do it for about 10 minutes out of your day. 10 minutes is not a lot.
No.
You know.
I think that's a
Just for you to put on your clothes, have a shower, whatever,
Yeah.
takes longer.
Yeah.
10 minutes is nothing, right?
Yeah.
So you say you want to learn a language and you want to dedicate about 10 minutes out of your day every single day. right? Tie it into something like, okay, right after I brush my teeth, I learn a language. Eventually,
You know-
if you miss that step, you'll start to, like, it'll be muscle memory,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And because it's so
You'll train
small,
your
you
body.
won't even realize it won't affect your day that much.
Absolutely.
And when you do it for the 30 days or 60 days, wallah, you're going to see the result.
Yeah.
Learning a language is a great example because of the way humans learn languages. So if I teach you a word today, you'll only remember that word for a week. So if I teach you a new word and say this is the meaning, after a week you're going to forget that word. But if you revise at the end of the week, you'll know it for 2 more weeks after that. And then if you revise 2 weeks after that, you'll know it for a month. Then if you revise after a month, that's stuck in your head. So you could not have learned that word for good if you weren't consistent at it
Nah,
in
it depends,
learning.
man.
No, that's the way it is. If you look at all the...
Look, all this, in most languages, what's the first words that you learn? It's the swear words.
Because you're consistent at that. Because you're
Depends
consistent
on
at
what
that.
age you are.
No, come
So
on,
if you
depends.
tell me something in Spanish, I'm gonna remember straight away, man.
No,
Because you're
okay,
laughing at it because of your emotions. You know what I'm saying?
No, because you know you
Because of that, man.
don't lie, because you use those words more than any other words.
Me personally,
You're more consistent in those negative words. That's why you
I'm
remember
more
them.
positive words, my friend.
That's why you don't
Unleash
remember them.
potential, positive potential, my brother.
But I would like to throw in that, you know how you said 30 days, small goals, be consistent?
Yeah.
I just like to toss in actually writing it down or logging it. You know what I mean? So you know your progress, right? So you know
Absolutely.
how much you've
Yeah.
improved.
Tracking
you know,
your progress,
so
your
tracking it is
consistency.
very important
Yeah.
because you won't know how consistent you are if you don't track it.
Even with relationships, if you set yourself goals, not just a monthly goal, but a weekly goal, and be like, this is the start of the week. Let's achieve this. Even you set yourself a date that you're like, all right, we've worked hard this week. Let's spoil ourselves this day of the week into doing this. You know, I mean, you're setting yourself goals. It might not be goals that you're achieving something, but you're maybe just rewards. Just you're setting yourself goals that are rewards. Small goals, you know, tend to be easier to
Commit to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
than obviously longer term goals.
Also,
So,
don't commit
yeah.
to goals that you can't achieve.
Yeah.
Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah.
Because then what that does is, firstly, it makes it harder for you. Because you always say, I can't do that because I tried and I failed. Because you bit off more than you can chew. And on top of that, if that goal affects other people, then you're putting, like, for example, this UPP, you're putting other people at risk. And you know what I mean? If I say I'm going to be here every week and I'm not, you're suffering for it as well. So don't commit to things that you know you can't achieve. Start off small.
Yeah, be
Start
realistic
off
with your
small.
goals.
Be realistic.
Absolutely.
It's like someone
Yes.
who lives off paycheck to paycheck,
Oh,
and then
man.
next week says, "Oh, I'm gonna save up for a car." You know, you know.
Yeah.
Start with the small things.
I mean-
Yeah.
Try at least put some money to the side end of the week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then then going for the longer term goal. You know.
Yeah.
I know, absolutely. You know, because I got a fresh fade, right?
Yeah.
But
We can see.
yeah, I know. I know. You know. The one thing I absolutely hate when it comes to inconsistency is a barber. I don't know. I don't know how
If I walk
how
in
you
the
guys
door
suffer
and
or
my
anything,
barber's
but
not there,
me,
I'm walking
I
out.
swear to God, the one thing I hate is when a barber is inconsistent.
Yeah.
I literally give them just one try, and then I try the next time. And if they don't know how to, if both haircuts, like if one is good and one is bad, I'm gonna be like, maybe he had a bad day.
Yeah.
You know, I understand that. I might give him a little bit, you
Yeah,
know, of
yeah.
you know, of an excuse. But if both of them are really bad,
No more
I'm
chances.
talking to my barber. when
and
he
if
first
my
came to
regular
Perth.
barber,
Yeah.
if my regular barber on a regular basis, I go to him only because he's consistently good, right? But the one time he's inconsistent, man, I
It
just
days
lose
off,
it.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
lose
not
it, man. I lose
Lose
it.
it.
Your
Yeah.
barber
I'll
could
give you
make
one
or
more
break
chance.
you, man.
Yeah.
Make or break you. That whole, whatever, 2 weeks, however long it takes you to regrow back that hair.
Not even me. My wife will notice as well. She'll be like, "Did you go to a different barber?" I'm like, "No, it's the same one."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man loves his
Remember
hair.
when he came to Perth? I took him to my barber. First time we went. Second time we went. I think third time we didn't come back. Hey.
You know,
Nah, bro.
coffee
Nah,
as well. I think you're
I'm out
big on
straight
coffee,
away,
bro.
bro.
You're consistent
yeah,
on coffee.
yeah,
If your
yeah,
coffee isn't consistent,
Yeah.
he's not there anymore.
I
If he gets one bad coffee,
If this
Yeah,
guy had a
cafes,
middle name,
right.
middle
Yeah.
name be coffee, bro. Every
Yeah,
time I
yeah.
see him, he's got a coffee cup in his hand. That's what, man. You know, man.
you can rely on me on
This guy
coffee, man.
loves his coffee.
Yeah, he does.
He loves his coffee.
Nah, I mean, I tend to go to the same places to get coffees in Perth. Like, I can tell, like, if one, just like how you said, if you go to a barber and he doesn't do you, click, you're not gonna go back to him. You might give him one more chance.
It messes up
But
your whole
isn't
day.
that-
Sometimes even your week.
With me, with coffee, if the coffee's not good from that place, I probably won't even go back.
I don't
to
think
it.
it's just that. I think it's anything. Food
You
as
know?
well. You go to a restaurant
Yeah.
and it's trash two
Yeah,
times,
yeah,
then
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
I'm not going there again.
Yeah.
Like both times I went there was terrible. Why should I give it a third try?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah,
The only time I'll give it,
man.
the only time I'll give another try if someone goes, nah, you know, someone I trust keeps pushing you to it. But other than that,
I remember one guy, I went to him, gave me a good fade, told him to line up my beard, chopped the whole thing off.
yeah, man, that's what happened to
back.
me, man.
Went again, chopped the whole thing off. Third time I went, he did a good job. Because he's still,
Yeah, but then
Yeah,
that's
just
1 out of
again,
3. Do you
that's 1
accept
out
it?
of 3.
I mean,
everyone's different.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
like I know people have bad days. I get that, you know. But like
One
if
thing-
you're inconsistent in
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
in your skill, then I don't know. It's
But I
just
think
gonna.
it's
It
Speaking
puts me off.
Speaking
It
about
puts me off.
restaurants, one Filipino lady told me, because she goes, what sort of food do you love? And I said, I love Asian food. I said, I eat a lot of Malay food. But, you know, she goes, you want to know one way you can tell if a restaurant is good or not? If you go to a Filipino restaurant or African restaurant and there's less Africans, there's more non-Africans than Africans, that restaurant ain't good. Or there's more Asians than...
He's right. He's right.
yeah.
Because the
You go-
palates are different.
You go to a Malay restaurant and you see more Africans than Malay.
Mm.
That she said that's not a good restaurant because the native people know the restaurant food more. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they can. I said, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, really.
Because like
No?
places, I like spicy food. So when I go places where there's spicy food, you don't really
Yeah.
see much people that enjoy spicy food.
Yeah.
More Caucasians don't show up there, you know.
I want to know why people in our community don't necessarily focus on, you know, a certain goal and try to be consistent at it on a regular basis. Because I mean, like, this information is easily accessible. I mean, we've derived this information not just from experience, but also from learning from others. Like, they're consistent in paying their bills. You know what I mean? Yeah, because they have to. Right. So how do you make it an emergency to the point where you have to do
Yeah,
it regardless?
I think people
For
divide
me,
themselves.
for example, right? And I'll give you a good example. For me, if I don't wake up in the morning and go to the gym, or if I don't wake up and give my time, like allocate a certain time for myself before my family wakes up,
Yeah.
right? That whole day just doesn't gel together. It just doesn't work
Out of
together.
sync, out of whack.
I don't wake up with the same mindset. I don't feel like I can go and achieve everything. But if I wake up and have that 1 hour or 2 hours just to myself first, you know, for prayer and then hitting the gym and just having some time to reflect on the day, wallahi, that whole day goes smooth,
Yeah.
man. But I've made it to the point where it affects me now.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, if you don't pay your bill, you're out the door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It affects you.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So I've made it to that point. But
I think for me, when I looked at it, when I wasn't very consistent in areas that I wanted to be in, it was because I was spreading myself thin. I had way too many goals. I wanted to achieve this, I wanted to achieve this, I'm studying, I'm working, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing 10 different things. It's hard to focus and be consistent on one thing when you're spread out way too much. You know what I mean? So being able to just sit down, that power of thought, would be able to sit down and go, okay, these are all the things I want to achieve. Now let me prioritize it. Let me list it between what I want to achieve the most, what's most important for me, and that's what you spend the most time on. Because a lot of time when people look at the list of stuff they want to, they're spending more time on the stuff that isn't as important to them. They're at home watching more movies in there. I want to go to the gym, I want to look better, but you're spending 2 hours a day watching a movie and 30 minutes at the gym. You know what I mean? Being able to allocate your time properly and sit down and probably cut off some things that you're wasting your time.
But then it's all good to just sit down and say, I want to go to the gym or I want to learn a new language. But then you don't put in the work.
No, but
And so
from
that's,
my
that's the
experience,
issue. So how
I
do you
think- I
actually
think-
put in the
I
work
think- I
and then
think-
become
I think
consistent
the
at
biggest
it?
key to consistency is finding that right balance.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know, like
For example, for
as
me,
a family man, you got kids, you got work, you got. Your
Yeah, a
wife,
lot of
you
people
have
will say,
all
I don't
these-
have the time, even though I want to achieve it. right?
You have the time, but you just have to find the right balance.
Yeah.
That's what I feel. I feel like, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Because for just simple things is for me shifting the times I work out versus shifting the times I edit versus shifting the times, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That made me a lot more consistent. Simple fact is when I rearranged and I managed my time properly, I had more energy. If I had less things to do, I was more focused on one thing, which made me more consistent. But that's me. Some people might be, they have all the time in the work in the world, but they might not have a vision. That's what might be stopping them. So that's why I say take a minute to find out what it is. Because if you're just putting in the work without knowing what areas you need to work on, then you're just blindly working. That's what I mean by working hard and smart at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's 100% true, man. You just gotta figure out what works for you, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly what you said, man. So for me, like I said before, negative criticism also put some people on any positive. You know, if you say anything negative about them,
Yeah.
they'll break down.
Yeah.
For me, it's a mixture. You can do both. Positive and negative will influence me.
Yeah.
That's what he means by finding out what it is that makes it important for you to tick, and then focusing
The
on
thing
that.
about consistency, it's not that hard. The hardest part about consistency
The
is getting
starting?
the ball rolling.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's
Like
Because
that.
as I said, after a while,
It's
it
like
becomes addictive,
it's a
right?
snowball downhill.
And that whole muscle
Yeah.
memory helps you and
Exactly.
propels you. You're absolutely right.
A lot
Just
of
getting that
people,
ball rolling.
Once you get that ball rolling,
You got to
It's
get to
just
that
like
level where
clockwork,
it
Yeah.
becomes addictive.
I tell everyone
Yeah,
that works
that's
out,
the hardest part,
give it a
yeah.
month. All that pain will, that DOMS, all that will go away. Just give it a month.
But
you know what I
is
mean?
30 days really enough?
That's
What?
about 30 days consistent
For it to become like, yeah,
A
30
habit.
days consistently.
to be a habit.
Is
yeah.
that
To
really
be-
enough?
to-
Like
to-
based on your experience?
For me,
Become a habit?
no.
Yeah, for it to become a habit. So,
Ah.
for example,
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
try and memorize the
Yeah.
Quran,
Yeah.
if you start and you do it consistently for 30 days straight, do
Yeah.
you feel like on the 31st day that it gets easier and
Oh,
starts to get
definitely.
easier? Or is it only after 50 days, 100 days? Like what's I know it depends on
Everyone's
the
different,
project
yeah.
and I know it depends on the person, but is 30 days really like the minimum that you can,
I think it depends on
No.
the environment also.
I think it can't be less than 30 days. See,
It
for me,
can.
I'll give you an example.
weeks.
I was
Oh, it
really,
can't be definitely less than 30 days.
I was-
I reckon
30
2
days is
weeks.
the minimum,
No,
but
not
it depends
2
on what
weeks.
you're
What do you
doing.
mean, man? When you're fasting,
Yeah.
it's a
you're not
month.
going to take a whole month till it becomes consistent. Mate, first week, 2 weeks, you're already in a habit.
Yeah, but because you've trained your body for years to be doing that. We're talking about you starting something fresh now.
Yeah, and I'll give you an
How long would
example.
it take?
For me,
30
I
days?
was inconsistent at the
Yeah.
gym, right? And I tried that. Let me at least do it for 30 days. I'm not gonna kill myself in the gym. I'm just gonna work out for 30 days and see where I go. A few years ago, tried that. I wasn't consistent, right? And it wasn't because it was the 30 days. Is I wasn't consistent in my sleeping habits. So it didn't matter how consistent I was going in the gym. I wasn't sleeping properly. I didn't have the energy. I couldn't be consistent in that. See what I mean?
So you didn't put yourself in a position to be consistent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So some people, they'll say they want to do one thing, like everything is affected. You know what I mean? Like if you're not happy at home and you go to work, you can't be consistent because you're coming into work unhappy.
Yeah,
So
I know.
sometimes you got to fix
Yeah.
other areas as well.
You're right. And just putting yourself in a position could also mean not having a reward for being consistent, but also having like a punishment for yourself. If you're someone who's very like punishment based as opposed to reward based, I mean,
How you going to
Yeah.
punch
See,
yourself?
like, for example, yeah.
For me, I'll give you an example. I love food. I love it all the time. And for me, part of my money management is to eat out less. So I've been eating out less. And I always reward myself by on the weekends going out and getting like balling out on food if I was consistent throughout my goals throughout the week.
Yeah. And if you don't
I'm not,
achieve it,
I'm not going out.
you're not going
Not
out,
going out.
right?
Yeah.
That's not punishing, really.
That is punishing.
yeah,
For
For
me,
him,
that's
but
punishing.
for him,
man.
that's a punishment,
Yeah.
and you
You-
determine
your
what the
punishment might be
punishment
different
is.
to
I
what
need that
you-
extra
yeah.
cheeseburger, man. I'm telling you, otherwise it's a punishment.
Yeah, man.
It is, especially for someone who only eats healthy
I see where he's
food.
come
Trust
from.
me,
I see where
bro.
he's come
There's
from, yeah.
nothing like you starting something and trying to be consistent, and all of the distractions come. Wallah, you only realize the distractions only after you want to start something.
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, I want to learn a
Absolutely.
new language, or I want to hit the gym,
Yeah.
bro. As soon as that friend call you up, yo, you want to go out?
Yeah.
Let's go have some fast food.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Wallah, all the temptations come
Yeah.
as soon as you start something.
But the thing
So
is,
to be
it's
able to
more of-
fight that
it's
as
more
well,
of
that's
you know the temptations now. The temptations were always there. It's just now you know it because you have a goal that's different to it. Your friends would have called you whether you had that goal or not, but now you're thinking about that because you have that goal.
yeah.
So
Absolutely. Well, hopefully, we've been very consistent at this, and we want the viewers and the listeners to sort of hold us to account.
And
If
be
we haven't been
consistent.
consistent, or if we have been inconsistent, then definitely let us
I think the
know.
viewers know they can yell at me
Um,
now if I'm not consistent
Sorry?
because I said I can take negative criticism. I have a bad feeling now, man.
Yeah. But yeah, I suppose. Look, this is like I said, it's very key to your success in all areas of your life. And sometimes we sit down here and we discuss topics that affect not only just one aspect, but all areas. Because we feel like you were created as a complete person, and you need the complete package to be able to perform as a complete person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not just about teamwork. It's not just about thought process. It's about all of those,
Yep.
and having a little bit of each. You understand? So when you prepare a meal, you don't just use one ingredient. You use a whole bunch of ingredients, and they produce a beautiful meal.
Yeah.
And the right amount of each.
And the right amount of each. Yeah, absolutely. And it depends on the meal. So it depends on you, and it depends on how
your
much
taste as well.
Hey, you're making me hungry.
exactly.
Only as a reward, mate.
Only as a reward, man.
Before you can eat.
Consistency, it brings a lot of, consistency comes down under teamwork, time management, a lot of things.
All of those.
The key to bringing all this is being consistent in what you do.
Yeah.
All
Absolutely.
those ingredients.
I think we need to be consistent and bring that game segment in then.
Definitely, And for all those Muslims that are out there that are listening to this, just sort of, we wanted to also touch on the Islamic side and highlight to you how important it is in your religion. Like the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pretty much told you that for you to be able to succeed and reach or attain Jannah, you need to be consistent. Consistent in your salah, consistent in du'as, consistent in istighfar, being consistent at that, and how to be consistent. Allah has implemented a program for you. He's given you a routine. Wake up in the morning, pray at this time, pray at this time, pray at this time. You know what I mean? Like
in this world, for me personally, I don't know, but everyone has their endeavors. That's the most hardest thing to be consistent at, man.
What?
Your deen, bro.
Of course.
But here's the thing, like you fall off the wagon.
I'll tell you when, like personal experience when I was in Africa, 5 times the salah, your 5 daily prayers, you pray at the mosque. Every day. You don't miss one. Because
you hear that,
you don't even have alarm.
That's the thing. You put yourself in that environment to be able to achieve that consistently.
Adhan is your alarm clock in the morning.
I
mean,
here's the thing,
it's just your body just got used to it, and it's so beautiful. But then when you come here, it becomes challenging, and it's but so you got to sometimes we pray salah after it's gone, because of this life it's fast life here. We live in this fast life, but I mean, and then again, we're not perfect. It's about just making learning from those mistakes.
You can always ask for forgiveness. God will always forgive you, and that shows that it's okay to make those mistakes. Jump back on that bandwagon. Jump back on it.
So anyway, man, hopefully this has been very informational, and we've highlighted a few aspects for you to sort of take some lessons and draw some understanding and implement it in your life, inshallah. But let's get into the game, man. I know Almi's got something cooking since he's been talking about
food.
Yeah. What's going on, man?
All right, I've got a question for you.
All right.
This is basic, simple, plain. One's got to go, right? I've got 3 Mikes. Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, and Michael Jackson. Alright. Hey man, stop reading my mind.
I know what Mike is going to say. 3 mics.
So we got 3 mics. Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, Michael Jackson. What of them got to go? Their legacy, everything they've done on this earth, erased.
From history.
Gotta choose one, huh?
Their whole contribution.
The whole contribution. Choose one. Whoever's gonna go first, take a pick, homie.
All right, for me, look, I'm gonna go first, right?
Okay, go.
And you guys don't have to agree with me. But by process of elimination, I'm gonna go. Michael Jackson has been very, very, very. Like everybody knows Michael Jackson. Everybody knows his legacy. He's such an icon to the point where his glove is his signature. The moonwalk is his signature. The whole pop culture, his jacket, his hairstyle, his whole demeanor, everything about him. Literally, he's an icon on top of an icon on top of icons, right? And signature moves, right? And he's produced such amazing work, such talent. For him to be erased from history would just be like, you're erasing someone who's had such a huge impact in terms of the music scene, right? And then we've got Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is my brother in Islam.
Come on, man, you gotta keep Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson is my brother in Islam.
Come on, bro.
He's a Muslim.
Which one would you say to their face that you'll get him out?
Oh, MJ.
It definitely won't be Mike Tyson.
I was headed there.
It won't be Mike Tyson.
MJ who?
Michael Jordan.
What?
Yeah, get out of here.
You're tripping.
First of all, I don't like NBA. I don't watch it.
So,
okay. MJ as a player, he was amazing. Amazing, I'll tell you that.
6 finals, 6 rings.
Yeah. But as a person, no way.
Come on.
I'm sorry, no way.
Firstly, all these players that have making the money that they are in the NBA. So if you think about the NBA as a business, right? So the owners were taking so much money. The reason why they make money is all because of the players, right? All their money, the advertisement, all this sales of shirts, the seats, people sitting down watching the shows, it's all because of the players, right? And initially, the company wasn't paying the players their due diligence, right? And they now, because of Michael Jordan and he transcended basketball, you know what I mean, and became a sports icon. Because of that, now people are getting their fair share. They're getting their shoe deals. They're getting paid properly. Before they were getting chump change. Now,
what has he done for his community? What has he done for the black? How has
Michael Jackson helped the community?
How has
his allegations? All of his allegations.
He's not guilty. He's not guilty. He's not guilty. That's what it was proved in court, right? What I'm trying to say is, as a person, because his whole contribution to society, his whole legacy, everything comes down to not just him as a talented individual, but also as a person as well. So if I marry it up together, Mike Tyson is my brother in Islam. You know, I'm not gonna touch him. He's literally at the top there, right? His head was Muslim though. Allahu Alam, you know, but you never know. He could be, could not be, you know. So regardless, his brothers are Muslim as well, right? Yeah, some of his brothers converted to Islam. Anyways, him as a person, I mean, he's been seen everywhere. He had a lot of... Bro, when we were in Africa, in fact, you go right now to Africa and you ask somebody, right? Deep in the village, do you know Michael Jackson? Yeah,
that's all three of them. That's all three of them.
No. Do you know Michael Jackson? Yeah, of course. Michael Jordan? Nah, sorry.
Yes.
Mike Tyson? Nah, sorry. Michael Jackson is up there. I'm sorry. Michael Jackson is not up there. Look, my choice is... My choice is MJ gotta go. I'm sorry. I'll be okay with MJ.
Ask the question. Okay. Answer the question, man.
All right.
But I'm shocked at the fact that he said
MJ.
People know Michael Jackson more than Michael Jordan.
Of course.
They're
out of here, bro. Out of here, man.
Michael Jordan,
Out of here, bro.
I think I agree with what he just said right there, right now. That they're both the same in terms of people knowing more. But I feel like more people know Michael Jackson more than Michael Jordan.
That's what I mean. That's what I said.
Because it's Michael Jordan's only affiliated with sports, NBA.
No, business. He was the first sport player to other than
but not everyone knows that. To make $1 billion. Everyone knows that. Not everyone knows that.
Everyone did know when he made $1 billion off his shoes. It was everywhere. It was huge. You don't know it. Doesn't mean everyone doesn't. Majority of people.
For example, Cristiano Ronaldo. But let me tell you something.
Hold on, let me just shut him down for a second. You go to China.
Hang on. What's your decision? Let me understand.
My decision is,
and what's your reasoning behind it?
You're taking their legacy to go.
Don't worry about what
I'm not talking about You're taking their legacy.
That's the question.
Your legacy is gone. So what I'm saying is, if you take the legacy, what impact will it have to the people? Right? So which one was more inspiring? Which I know Mike Tyson is my brother and he's my man. But when you look at what they achieved, Michael Jordan was the best basketball player everyone says it, right? Everyone can agree with it. That's not arguable. Okay, who are you going to argue with?
We'll talk about this after.
No, just real quick.
We'll talk about this outside.
Jordan went to 6 NBA finals. 6. And he won every single time.
About this all day.
And he won every single time.
Continue.
Michael Jackson, king of pop. Right? Known as the best pop star. Mike Tyson, is he known as the best boxer in the world?
He's one of the best heavyweights.
He's not known as the best heavyweight in the world, be honest.
He's one of the
I don't care. He's one of the most
He's called Iron Mike for a reason.
He's called Iron Mike for a reason.
Look
at every boxing legend. What I'm saying is, if you go to any musician, any top musicians out there, and you ask them to give you their top list of famous artists.
So what's your decision?
My decision is Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson gotta go?
Yeah. Simply put everyone.
And so you're gonna erase one brother in Islam.
Let me explain.
All right.
Let me put it very simple. Let me put it very simple. If you ask every expert in their field, music, boxing, basketball, ask every expert in their field to give you their top 5. Mike is on the top. Mike Jordan's on the top. Tyson's not up there. Full stop. Okay. They both had longer careers as well.
All right. Wow. You ask anybody, name me top 5 boxers.
Will number one be Mike Tyson? Be honest. Muhammad Ali.
I just said top 5.
Doesn't
Mike
matter.
Tyson will be up there, regardless whether
Yeah,
that
but
person
Michael
will
Jordan
say.
and Michael Jackson will be number one. There's a difference. There will be king
See,
of pop,
yeah.
king of basketball. One. not
Okay, so
two,
if
not
Muhammad
three.
Ali wasn't there, would you say like Muhammad Ali still
If-
gotta go?
No, I will not take Muhammad Ali.
Okay,
out.
so you
If
revise your
if you
decision.
switch
Okay.
Mike Tyson to Muhammad Ali, because Muhammad Ali,
So it's
the
not so much the
social aspects he
profession.
did. Yeah, do you see what he did for the social aspect? The
Okay.
Vietnam War when he didn't go,
Yeah, no,
he went
I
to
understand.
jail.
All right, so
Well,
what about you?
Oh, now he's mind wandering now. It's changed,
no.
Uncle G.
Uncle G, you know.
I agree with you guys. I mean, like the thing is, I respect you guys, but I have to give. my
Yeah, it's your own
decision, you know?
opinion. Yeah, that's what
But yeah, you're right. If you go to any musician out there, they'll say Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson will be in the top 3 names. Any even sports. Forget about. You don't even have to ask someone about.
Yeah, if you say
someone who knows basketball, who follows it, but just someone who just he's 3 big icons in sports. I think he'll put Michael Jordan in there.
when
All right,
they
so what's your decision? You're gonna go like him?
No,
Like-
no. I cannot take out my brother, Mark Tyson.
That's
You know,
that's
I
what
can't
I'm
do that.
talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
You take one Umma out, you're taking all I'm gonna go for Michael Jackson.
What?
Michael
Yeah,
Jackson?
yeah. Because because,
But the thing
MJ,
is-
Michael Jordan.
But here's the
Nah.
thing.
He chose Michael Jackson. You chose Mark Tyson.
and I'll give you the reasons why. Because I believe, first and foremost, I'm into my NBA. Secondly, Mike Tyson. That's obviously we agree with that.
So it leaves you with one person then.
Yeah.
No,
But
and I'm not into the pop
He's
culture.
less into
Fair
just like you're less into basketball.
I believe
Okay,
like
yeah, fair
whether even if he was still existed now and so alive, like it's not like he's doing a big difference within me, or I'm listening to him or not. So that's an easy choice for me, I think.
All right.
Michael Jackson.
And you, the one who asked the question,
Michael Jackson. Got you
gotta
there.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah? Same reasoning as him?
Mark Tyson's brother, Michael Jordan, arguably
The
Second.
best athlete.
one of the top basketball
Athlete.
players in the history of
Bro,
NBA.
you do
And you're
not
into
even-
your NBA?
And I love my NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you
Michael
got here? What do you got
Jackson.
here?
He's
Warriors.
Golden
Oh, you're the
State
bandwagon. Huh?
Warriors.
He's the
There you go.
bandwagon.
There you go, man.
Bro, I'm a
There you go, right? There you go.
I've been supporting them since day one. bro.
Wow.
Baron Davis.
Bro, I see the tag that you just bought that shirt yesterday, man.
Nah, he's had it for a while,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, nah.
But yeah,
Okay, well,
All right.
So,
so
that's,
my opinion is the right one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
but I see where Abdul Jabbar's coming from.
Yeah, but you guys are looking at it personally. You just like you're not into basketball as much. He's not into music as much, and he's into basketball as
Yeah.
much. I'm just looking at it as imprint, the one that did the least imprint on this earth. I'm taking.
we're talking
that.
about legacy. I mean, like,
That's what I mean. That's what I
imagine
mean.
Mike Tyson, what like his views.
Muhammad
what can
Ali, but here's the
he
thing,
do for the
him-
young Muslim generations who want to be boxers like him. you know?
Muhammad, but the thing, Muhammad
I
Ali.
mean, I
was
feel
more
like he'll have
different.
more of a say. Than,
No, but for me, when I look at it during their time, if you look at
Bro,
Michael Jackson,
Michael Jordan invests in prisons. He has investments. He probably even owns, some of the prison complex, which still
Wow,
to
I
this
didn't know
day
that.
affect. Still to this day
Yeah?
affect the black people within
really,
their
I gotta
community.
look up that.
No, I'm serious, bro.
Wow.
yeah. And he doesn't speak out much on social issues.
No,
That
he
is
doesn't,
true.
man.
But
in
when
terms
I-
of that,
but here's the-
he
but
has
here's-
never used
but
this
here's the
platform to
thing.
try and speak about
But here's the thing.
about anything.
What has he done for the
No, but
the
here's
black
a-
community?
Here's my point. Here's my point. Regardless of him
Man,
speaking
I don't
out,
know, and the fact that I don't know makes me,
regardless of him speaking out, he still has that influence. That's the craziest part.
But he hasn't used
Make
that
me-
influence
That's
to
my
do
crazy.
anything.
That's what I'm saying.
Probably has the
except to
influence in terms
benefit
of sports.
himself. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. The fact that he doesn't even have to go out there to do all of this stuff, but people are still saying, "Make me like Mike. Let me be
I
like
think what
Mike."
Amar's saying is,
Cannot
he
take
know
has
what I
that
mean?
away. Because
Till this day,
in this-
he's selling the same shoes. He's still selling the same.
2019.
No, but what Umar is saying, I think, is
No,
industry
no,
and outside the industry.
Look, Michael Jackson's
Understand.
passed away. Mark Tyson's still alive. Mark Jordan's still alive.
And who has more influence
most
right now?
influence right now on the face of this earth? Michael Jordan, bro.
But what has he used it for? You see, there's no point
Yeah.
in building up a
Yeah,
platform
I-
if you're not going to send out messages that
One day he'll-
influence
one
and
day he'll
affect
change.
people.
What's
right?
What's Michael Jackson doing right now to influence the earth?
Well, he's dead. Yeah, but you can see numerous videos and stuff
That's
where he
true.
speaks out against certain things. There's certain music that he's reached,
what
that
you're
he's
saying-
sent out
But
about.
are you saying there's been nothing negative that he's put out there as well? Are you saying there isn't anything
that's-
negative?
What do you mean?
That's not the media.
What do you mean?
There, like I don't. Let's not get into like complete details, but there are facts
Yeah,
that
Look,
contradict.
whatever in terms of allegations and stuff, that's something completely different. What
It's
I'm
not.
saying, yeah, I know. Look, what I'm saying to you is, we're talking about legacy, right?
Yeah.
So he's built a legacy.
He has.
But now he's used it to actually send out positive messages, regardless of whether they get tainted by certain negative allegations,
And
right?
saying legacy means outside.
Mike
the-
Tyson has
why-
also used that legacy to try and, speak out against certain issues. Even the stuff that he's experienced in his whole life, in terms of the alcohol that he's been through, addiction, that whole fast life, gaining so much money and spending it ridiculously. He's spoken out against these. He's done interviews against these. MJ, Michael Jordan,
But here's the thing.
has built that platform, but has not spoken out
Let me tell you
against
something. If you look at-
the effects that are happening within the African American population. He hasn't spoken out against
He
any
hasn't.
of these things.
But if you
So
look
what's
at
the point?
if you look at all the youth, especially the African American youth in impoverished areas in America, they all still idolize him. They all still go, I want to be like
Not him as a person. They
No.
idolize his skill, and I understand that. Listen to me.
But that's still
what I'm
influence.
saying. No.
That's still influence.
I'm not saying he's not influential. I'm saying he's influential, but he hasn't used
So
that
what-
influence to
what-
positive in it. So he hasn't. He's
Mike,
built a legacy, but hasn't
Let me
used
just
it.
Hold on,
clarify
hold
what
on.
you're saying.
But
Let me just
my-
double check. You're saying he's influential in the industry, but you're talking about outside the industry.
No. What I'm saying is.
So Michael
Okay,
Jordan,
look.
you agree with Michael Jordan
His
that he's
legacy-
influential in
look.
the industry. In
Michael
sporting
Jordan
NBA, he's
built up
influential. We
his
can all agree with
legacy.
that, right?
Michael Jordan built up a legacy
yeah.
to the point where people want to be like him.
Be like him, yeah.
But when they say be like Mike, not like Mike as a person, like Mike as that successful
sports-
person, as a
Here's my
sports
thing.
person,
That's what I'm
right?
saying. Yeah, that's what- yeah.
And he's built that legacy,
Yeah.
but then he hasn't used it to actually
Outside of
contribute,
sport.
and give back to the community,
yeah.
speak
But-
out against
but
issues,
what my-
which is why I say no. I'm
With
not.
my
He's
point
got to
is-
go.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
My point
Other
is-
people
Legacy
that-
comes out of that. It's not
Bro,
only just sport.
There's so many people
It's
that
not
have.
industry,
I'm
that's
sorry
what
to
it
cut you off, Abdul Jabbar,
Bro,
but you know,
because it doesn't matter whether you speak. Like, if I go out now and speak out and tell people to do something, and they do it or don't, or I don't speak out and they do it or don't, all I care about is whether they did it or not. Even though Michael Jordan doesn't go out and speak out, people are still moving and doing things because of him.
no, regardless,
How does that matter?
Because when you speak out against it, you bring light to a certain issue. Whether other
hot
people
topic,
still
guys.
take it or not, that's a separate issue.
So,
you're not
what was-
responsible for that. You're responsible for the platform that you create
I'm looking
and for how you use that
I'm
platform.
looking at their
Do you understand?
imprint on this planet, and whether you say he speaks out or not.
I'll give you a clear
in
example.
this
I'll give you a
planet?
clear example. Let's say this Unleash Potential podcast reaches a certain level, right? But we're not using it towards a positive, a positive output. We're not using this platform to positively influence people. Now we're sending this message out. Whether people take the message or not, that's up to them.
Let me
But
switch
we're here.
Let me switch it. Let's say you three on this podcast, telling people to go do things positively. And I'm out there doing things positively, but not telling people. Yeah, I'm still influencing as much people as you are. Does that mean I'm less than you because I'm not speaking out?
No. That's
my whole point. That's my whole point.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't
That's
get
my
me
whole
wrong.
point.
Don't get me wrong. You're talking about something completely different. What I'm saying to you is speak out against it, but also show that you're doing it, okay, in the community as well. I understand that. I get that.
But
right?
what I'm saying is, just because you're saying he doesn't speak out, you're diminishing what he is actually doing for the people, what people are taking from him.
Bro,
doesn't matter what he puts out.
anybody
what
that
people
invests in the
taking.
prison population that still affects African Americans, I'm sorry.
I think we can agree to disagree.
Anyways, we can agree. We can go on all day long.
I'm gonna let you finish. But Michael Jordan was the greatest basketball player.
And on that note,
We need-
Mike Tyson should go out.
Hey, yo.
Mike Tyson should be out.
We need to cut this loose.
If you
guys
switched
are gonna
it-
go all day.
Jabbar, we're gonna go on. Look, we'll continue
Let me
this.
simplify it. If you switched Mike Tyson for Muhammad Ali, I'll probably take Jordan out.
Anyways, man, we can continue this all day long, but it's been wonderful to have you guys listen to us and to have our special first guest, mashallah,
Thank you.
and hopefully a regular guest as well.
Yeah.
But
How about, who would you take out of the three? I want to know what the people think.
yeah,
Yeah. I want them to argue for us, not just us.
let's see. Yeah, so just
So-
comment, like, share, subscribe, YouTube. Podcast app on iTunes or
take out of this?
Samsung, whatever it is. Hit us up, hit us back.
Anyways, man, take care.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.